Hey everybody, Fulja Rash. Welcome back to 365 Days of Irish Tenor Banjo Tunes. Today is 127. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is my New Year's resolution to pick up the banjo, learn a new tune each day. I've got a book called the Big Book of 365 Irish Tunes. So 365, I thought, hey, great challenge. I'll play a tune a day. Now, before I get going on today's tune, I wanted to actually respond to a question I had on one of my other tunes by the name of a gentleman named Michael. And he basically asked something like, do I find value in this challenge of presenting a new tune every single day? And isn't it restrictive? And the answer is yes and no, as all things. So for me, I started this thing off because basically, just to give you a little, so before I get rambling, and I'm going to ramble for a while, you'll notice on the bottom, there is a thing where you can just skip ahead to the slow tempo or the moderate tempo. So if you don't want to listen to me babble, you can just skip ahead to the tune. So when I started this thing, I had played banjo. I got the banjo a couple years ago. This is from my dad. They were downsizing and he's since passed on, and I got this banjo from him. And what I had found is in the summer, in the evenings, I'd sit out on the porch. We've got kind of a covered deck, and I'd play, you know, usually on the weekends, sometimes during the week, but mostly on the weekends at night. It's light here, quite late. I live in northern BC. It's not actually in the north of BC, but we call it northern BC. And, you know, so I'd play for maybe 2 months and probably 3 days a week sort of thing. And, you know, I really wasn't improving much, especially when I started again the next summer, and I had forgotten everything. And I had a repertoire of probably 4 tunes that I would play, and I would go back to those same tunes all the time. And, you know, probably last summer I played a little more often, maybe 4 or 5 times a week, quite often. And I was trying to add some more in, but it was just so simple to just keep playing the same ones that I had already done. And I was quite new too, so you have to remember that. But anyways, this idea sort of came along to me on New Year's, and I'm thinking, we were talking with my daughter about New Year's resolutions, and I've never really made them before. I thought they were kind of silly. And that's kind of where the idea came from. So the pros of this thing, I would say, is number one, that I'm playing the banjo every single day. So I came up with this play a tune every day as the commitment to play every day. And because I'm playing a different tune every day, I upload them to YouTube. And it's kind of like this way that I keep accountable to myself by publicly declaring that I'm doing this and putting them up there. Even though I don't really know the people who follow my channel. You know, I've got some friends on Facebook who see my posts maybe or something like that. But it's just this, it's that little bump that made a difference for me to actually do the thing. And it must be working. We're on, what did I say, day 127 today. So we're, you know, a third of the way through easily. So that's pretty cool. The other things I would say about it is because I have to learn a new tune every day, it's challenging me to learn more styles. So we've got jigs, we've got reels, you've got hornpipes, you've got barn dances, slides, polkas. There's all the different styles that are within this book, but also just within Irish music. And I found for a lot of those, I had to listen to more tunes, which is also great. So at work, I throw this on, I listen to traditional Irish music. And if you want to get better at Irish tenor banjo, I would highly suggest you listen to traditional Irish music. It's the only way to kind of figure out sort of the pace and lilt and, you know, that sort of thing of the tunes. So yeah, so I learned a lot more different styles. I learned about the down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down of a jig, and I learned picking for reels. But I think one of the other things is I am sight reading all of these. So I'm mostly reading tab, but I'm looking at the notes above to get the rhythms right. So my ability to read a piece, sort of sight unseen, and play and sort of get the feel for it has really improved. Being able to look ahead as I'm playing you start to notice the pattern of tunes, right? So parts keep repeating themselves, and the more you play this, you realize you get those repetitive parts. So that's really cool. I also end up challenging myself. Any tune, if I would started to go through it and I was enjoying it, and then there was a high B, I was like, oh no, heck no, I'm not playing that one. Put it away. Next tune, right? So that was interesting too. And then I guess the other thing is I'm just finding out which tunes I like and which ones I don't. And you know, when I'm done all this, then I will be able to probably improve on those and that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, some of these other things you could do if you were just going about this other ways, but you know, I've looked up a bunch of different resources. I've got Enda Scahill's Patreon page. You've got the Banjo Buddy who put out this book, but also has some tutorials on YouTube. And then I've also found, while, you know, I look up the tune on YouTube to get the feel of it, and you find all these different musicians that have lots of examples of tunes. In particular, for some of the more obscure ones, Shane Farrell is really good. He's got all kinds of things on there. Fergus Scahill, he's a fiddle player, but he's got tons of tunes because he did a tune of the day thing for quite a while. So he's got all kinds of different examples of tunes. But the downsides. So yes, there are some downsides. So number one, it could be maybe just a touch monotonous. Not always, but you know, some days you've had a really long day and you're just like, man, I'm tired. I want to have a glass of wine. I want to go to bed. And, you know, this prevents that. But that's also a good thing, and then it makes me stick with practicing. But, yeah, the other thing I would say is, like, you know, I end up playing songs I don't really like. Like, after I'm through them, I'm like, you know, I really just didn't care for that tune for whatever reason. Just didn't appeal to me. And I find I have to play tunes in keys that challenge me or I don't like. Again, that's probably a plus to work on those different keys and things. I am probably not learning any tunes, if that makes any sense. So I'm sight reading these tunes. I'm definitely getting a lot of muscle memory because I play most of these tunes anywhere from half an hour to an hour, depending on how difficult they are. When I first started out, it would definitely take me an hour or more to be able to get the tune to the point where I could stomach posting it on YouTube. And I still get tunes that are messed up and I post them anyways, but it's half an hour-ish. It seems to be my average now per day to put out a new tune. Whereas I think if I wasn't committed to this new tune every day, I could take a tune and I could work on it for a week, and I could try different rhythms, sort of different long and shorts to it. I could try ornamentation and different things. But the other thing is I could actually learn it in my brain. So right now I just play what I see, and while I'm developing the muscle memory that would probably come back very quickly when I wanted to play it again, I don't actually know the piece. If I didn't have this book and somebody said, hey Phil, play a tune, I probably couldn't play anything at all except probably John Ryan's, the opening of John Ryan's, because I had to play it for a Valley Youth Fiddlers concert, like just the opening 4 bars or something like that. Yeah, so that's the downside, is that I don't have that ability to explore in depth any particular tune because I am busy too. Like, you know, I could still do that if I wanted to. I could take a tune and, you know, I tend to do that on the weekends a little bit more. And I could take a tune that I really enjoyed and keep playing it all week long along with the new tune, except I just don't really have time for that. So, you were saying you're a beginner as well, and is there value in doing this? Yes, there is value in doing this, for sure. Especially if you're the type of person like me that needs some sort of gimmick like this to motivate yourself to play every single day. And otherwise you would be like, oh yeah, I'm going to play every day. And then, you know, after the first week, you play only 4 days that week. And then you kind of go down and down and down. Then this is definitely good. I would think if you just commit to yourself to play every day and you don't need the gimmick, I think it would be great to go, I'm going to learn a tune a week, and I'm going to have that tune memorized, and I'm going to have it inside out, and I'm going to play it really well. Because a lot of the times, too, these tunes, by the time I've done them, I haven't played them really well. I've played a passing version if I'm lucky sometimes. So anyways, that was my ramble, big long ramble, for Michael's question. I really do enjoy interacting with you folks. It's an odd thing because I didn't expect that would be something I enjoyed with this, but I do. So if you're a beginner in particular, I think there is some value in following along in this journey with me. Maybe you play along the tunes each week, or maybe you just pick up some of them and they're, because I play them so slow at the beginning, especially, it's easy for you to follow along, or you can just sort of relate to the trials and tribulations of trying to reach the high B or play a triple or whatever it happens to be. But anyways, today we are going to be doing number 199 in the Banjo Buddies Big Book of 365 Irish Tunes. It is called the Green Mountain, and it is a reel in D. Like always, I'll do the first time through really nice and slow, and then I will do some practice and try and pick it up to more of a moderate pace. So there's a good example of a tune that was enjoyable, and I added some things to it, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I made some mistakes. And probably, I think if I was to work on just that tune on its own for the week, I would get much better at it. I would have it memorized. I find I can only go so fast sight reading. Whereas I think if you memorize a piece, it's easier to play it faster. So anyways, that's kind of answers Michael's question, and it's also today's tune of the day. And that's it for today, though. We will see you all tomorrow. Slán!